we talking about practice. Not a game. We talking about practice.
Now, back to the After Practice podcast with Lake Lewis.
Welcome, everyone, to another After Practice podcast. Appreciate you joining us, and we've got a lot to talk about today. I've got two dynamic guests that'll be joining me. Coming up here in seconds is a good friend of mine that really needs no introduction. If you're a Commanders fan or a former Redskins fan, we have a wide receiver, Anthony Armstrong. And then coming up a little bit later on, I have another young man that's going to come on and tell you a really awe-inspiring story about his path, and he's trying to make it to the NFL. But he's had some obstacles along the way. So we'll talk with him a little bit later on. So you got to stay with us to find out who that is. But as I promised you before, I'm going to bring in my good friend, Mr. Anthony Armstrong. What's going on, my friend?
What is going on, Lake? How are you doing, sir? I like the setup. I like how you got it going right now.
Try to be a little busy with it, but it's all good. And what wasn't good was last night, and I didn't get back here to the house until 3 a.m. And I'm sitting in the press box. Man, look, I'm sitting in the press box, and I just this runs through my mind all the time. Why do I subjugate myself to this, man? Like, you can't have performances like that. What was your thoughts just watching them get ran through by the Chicago Bears?
Man, I was upset that I really stayed up that late because I could have went on to bed if I knew that's how they were going to follow up. Frankly, what I thought was a good performance against Philly.
Yeah,
I thought they played Philly well, but then you show up out here and you just lay an egg, and I mean, without even having to go look at the tape, I'm just questioning, like, how do you get caught in certain positions like that? You know what I mean? And I don't know. It was very frustrating to watch. It just felt like you were taking the same punch over and over again and didn't make any adjustments on the defensive side of things, at least.
Exactly. I mean, you play wide receiver for this team, and it was a big vertical threat on top of that. And I'm looking up and I'm seeing DJ Moore. No offense to DJ Moore, he's a local kid, went to Maryland and all, but he's never been known as a vertical threat. He's more of a slot guy, underneath guy, and for him to have 283 yards, receiving yards, 3 touchdowns, that's unheard of, man. That's not. I'm sorry. I know you're an NFL wide receiver, but I'm sorry. Nobody's good enough to be doing that. That means there were some busted coverages.
Man, the first play, well, I'm not sure what was going on. It must have been an issue at safety. How is BSJ behind DJ Moore? Like, that's not a good position to be in at all, unless you have safety help. And there was none.
There was no safety help.
That hurt.
All night.
But then what was frustrating, they hit you with the same double move that you saw just a few days ago. No, I mean, frankly, that's good coaching. That is smart coaching. It's like, hey, let's see if this rookie got it in 2 days.
Right.
You don't get enough reps against it. But what had me so frustrated was the curl routes that they continued to just spin outside.
Over and over and over. I mean, and Justin Fields, listen, he looked totally comfortable. I mean, he looked been there, done that. I'm going to carve this team up. That's not what we've been seeing from Justin Fields. Coming into this game, there was talk that they were thinking about benching him in Chicago because of poor performance. And he comes here, he looks like Joe Montana. DJ Moore looked like Jerry Rice. To me, it's time to say this, and I know, we go back, and I don't like to just throw stuff out there, but I'm saying it. It's time for a coaching change. It is absolutely time. It's not a knee-jerk reaction. This isn't something where, you can say, well, Lake, you were just talking about how this is a team trending upward after the Philadelphia game, and they showed you something, but then, like you said, you can't follow that up at home, primetime, against a team that hadn't won in 14 games.
14 games.
And you didn't just lose a tightly contested game. You got drugged. And that's not that, Anthony, you've been in locker rooms where coaches have been lost. I'm just asking you this from the outside looking in. Does it appear like maybe, especially on the defensive side of the ball, that maybe the scheme is falling on deaf ears and eyes over there?
Something's up, or at least your tendencies are just out there. Like the people know what you're going to do. You're not making any adjustments over there on that side, and you're just not reaching your full potential. I mean, you have everything that you want. Sure, you could say maybe linebacker, but I think they played a little bit better over these past couple of games. They've started to get a little bit more active, but I'm surprised that the secondary just kind of had that game.
It just looked poor.
But I'll say this. I mean, shoot, the wife had a great point. She's like, I think this is a trap game. And you look at it, it kind of was, but it's tough. I would say this, and I'll give them credit. It's tough on a short week to prepare for an offense that's frankly you're only going to see one time this year. You know what I'm saying? And I get that, but
come on,
you got to show some heart, man. You got to show some heart.
Come on, stop.
You got to show some heart. But real talk though, bare bone basics. Hey, that's their best receiver. Let's make sure he don't do nothing. All right. Okay. I'll get beat by anybody else.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, Anthony. Look, you see AJ Brown, career day. I mean, we know he's a Pro Bowler. Okay. DJ Moore, career day. Go beyond that. I mean, hell, Stephon Diggs, career day. Those are your top threats. Those guys should be double teamed, triple teamed if you need to. They should never have the ball like that. But for them to be catching it in open space, unattested, that goes back to me to coaching. Listen, I always side with the players. You know that. But this is one of those games I can't put this on the players. I just can't. Yeah, I mean, maybe some heart needed to show, and I saw that in the second half, so that's okay. Yeah. But there's a disconnect, and there's no question about it. And to me, one of the disconnects, too, is in the past couple of years, the offense hasn't been, a high-powered offense. Let's call it like it is. So maybe the defense played more of a bend but don't break, just to keep them from being gassed, going all full out aggressive all the time. But now you have an offense that's moving the ball. You have an offense that has shown that they can score. I don't feel like there's a rhythm. It doesn't seem like this team ever plays situational football, and they don't play off of each other as far as the units. And I think that's starting to rear its head here. Washington's defensive scheme is antiquated. If you know what that means, you can look that word up. It's archaic, antiquated. It doesn't work. It's old. And I think that it's because of the person that's preaching it. And I think he's got to go. Truthfully.
You talking about Del Rio?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the name, man. I'm like, you got to do something. Like,
got to do
something. Because right now it's getting to the point, like, okay, people know what you're dropping into. Your front 4 or 5 aren't winning every single play, and you're not expected to. I mean, if I'm playing against Washington, I'm doing everything that you're seeing. Throw it quick, get the ball out of your hands, run it. Just negate it by play call. Now on the back end, you just got to be tighter. You got to be tighter. You got to understand that
you can't play
situation.
10 yards off guys too, man. I mean, I think a guy like Forbes, who I do think is really talented, I really do. I think he's being asked to do some things that maybe are screwing with his head right now, and his confidence, is shot. That's coaching, man. You listen, you one of the fastest guys on the team. I know you say the fastest when you were here, so I'll give you that. Okay. The fastest guy on the team. But if they're asking you to run 5-yard curls all the time, aren't you going to look at them sideways after a while and say, are you utilizing my God-given strength? I don't see them doing that. And I specifically are targeting the defense because 5 first rounders are out there. 5. And you're not getting any kind of pass rush. Is that those guys aren't good enough? I totally don't buy that. I just think that when Montez is down on one side and Chase is down on the other side, and there's no mixture, there's no creativity. You're in Dallas right now. What do they do with Micah Parsons? They hide him all over the field and they move him around. Yeah. You don't get any of that in Washington. And it's almost like teams can look and say, I already know what they're getting ready to do. And they take it to you. So something's got to give. And by having a Thursday game, you got 4 days, till next week, whatever. I make the changeover this weekend. I really do.
I mean, you got to start having some hellified questions for sure, because it gets predictable when you're watching the game, and if it's predictable when you're watching the game, you know damn well your opponent knows what you're up to. You know what I mean? So I like Forbes as well. I do, and he's had a hell of a draw over the past 2 weeks, and frankly, God. in the past 5 days, like, come on, that's a tough.
It's never going to get any harder than what he's gone
right?
through.
AJ Brown backdoor with DJ Moore, and they running double moves, and you know what I mean.
Oh, before that was Stephon Diggs,
and Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, so the last week and a half for him,
man, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough. You take honestly though, man, you take these 10 days and go watch some tape. You get away from playing the game, but just go watch some tape and study it. Because the thing is, he is very talented, but the difference is the quarterbacks are that much more talented. The receivers are that much more talented. The accuracy is that much better because, frankly, he was in good position on a lot of those, like on the curl routes that we talked about. He was in great position. Maybe he slipped a little, but when you slip, you can't try to go play the ball also. You can't do both.
Right.
In this league.
Right.
If you slip, you just got to go play the receiver and make a tackle.
Exactly.
That is it. And I know AJ Brown, DJ Moore, hell, AJ Brown too. They big dudes. But you go get your 167 pounds and you just hold on until somebody else can pull them down and live to see another down. Now, if you get clean feet, now go play that ball, because I know that he's going to get those picks. And I was thinking about before I got on here. You look at the time frame when they could put like Trevon Diggs, which I think is like 2018 to like 2022, he leads the leagues in interceptions, but he also led the league in yards
and getting beat. Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So you got to have that risk reward type of game. And that's Forbes. Forbes to me is a guy that looks like a number one corner when he's going to be at his best. He really does. I mean, I don't think the size has become a factor at all. People keep slandering. I've seen some stuff today that he's 160 pounds. He can't cover people. I think you guys really need to look at the tape a little better. He's made some plays. He made a hell of a play against the Eagles where it was just a great catch by Devonta Smith. I mean, he broke the ball up in the air and Smith came down with it. That's just great offensive play. Sometimes you got to call it like you said, but I also think the scheme that he's in right now is not helping his game at all. And then when you see Kendall Fuller out on an island all the time, I mean, that's not his game. He's an older corner. I mean, it just seems like there's no help. There's nothing over the top. There's no help out there. And then when I see Chase Young out wide covering wide receivers, it's are you serious?
You need to mix things up. You really do. Everything's aligned, and then frankly, like you can't point to any position and just say, hey, it's over there, we got to get a player there. Like, no, everything is out there for you. I mean, you want the performance to be better, but they can only run what you call. And Washington's been against 3 pretty mobile quarterbacks over the past few weeks. And frankly, in this league now, everybody's
quarterback. I mean, Josh Dobbs gave him a little bit of fits in the first game against the Cardinals.
So maintaining the rush lanes, and I get that, and being able to kind of compress, but man, you're gonna have to find another way to create pressure. You're gonna have to find another way to disrupt offenses, because you can't expect your front four. I mean, it's like me playing Madden. I don't get enough time to play it to get any better, but I generally send my front four at you and let's go get it. The computer be tearing me up, and that's what happens if you don't have any creative ways to create some pressure.
So as a former NFL player, you look at the offense. Are you seeing some good things with the offense? Because naturally fans are like, they're not running the ball enough. Brian Robinson had 6 carries yesterday. But when you're trailing by 20 points in the first half,
you really can't run it.
You can't run it. And if you do run it, let's just say you had a drive of 10 runs and you scored off that drive. You've probably taken 7-8 minutes off the clock where, that's your enemy as well.
Yeah.
So, but what are you seeing with the offense? I mean, do you feel like there's a reason to panic offensively, or do you feel like they're just not getting the help on the other side of the ball?
They are an offense that they can only learn as fast as Sam Howell learns and grows.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You got to think we're counting on one hand how many games he's started in the NFL, right? 5.
Yeah. 5.
That's it.
5.
He's in every week he's just getting dealt different looks where defenders and defenses can bait him into throws and make him think he has a read and then take that away, and that leads to him holding the ball a little longer, which leads to him leading the league in sacks.
Yeah.
And obviously the offensive line is already a little soft in some spots, but they do okay. They're serviceable. They can really make some things happen when the ball gets out of his hands. Downside is everything ends up being short. So I think that right now it's as soon as he gets a faster understanding of what he's seeing, they've shown the ability to come back and score a lot of points. They've come back from being down. And
pretty much every game.
Every game. And previous Washington teams probably would have not even considered.
I'm glad you said that, because I wasn't going to say that with you on here, but the fact of the matter is I've seen guys that probably were ready to think about the club.
Yeah, I've been on teams where people kind of almost had that feeling where it was like, dog, it's like, but real talk, it's hard to sit there and say, man, we down 28-0 at it's the third quarter, and we've had the ball 5 times. What are the chances? We got to score 4 times. You know what I mean? So it's typical. We ain't getting much help from the defense, so on and so forth. So it gets difficult. But we've seen the defense buckle up and hold things down. But it's like you need the defense to give the offense some time to get rolling.
Yeah.
But you also need the offense to kind of get rolling quicker.
I think tempo. I think tempo has been, when you look at when Sam Howell's really started to turn it on in games.
Yeah.
It is, like you said, in the comeback mode, but with the comeback mode, the play calling becomes a lot faster. The tempo speeds up. And I tweeted out last night from the stadium, I think that Eric might need to really, consider just going to a no huddle to start the games.
Yeah. You could. That would be good to bring that heat straight out of the gate, because frankly, the biggest thing that happens when you go no huddle is that defenses get vanilla. They don't have the time to make the checks and all these and hide things. When you just line up again, they're like, cover 3, right? If they just shot their shot, they're not going to line up and do it again. They're going to check to something simple. They're going to check to something simple. And it messes your
substitution patterns up as well. So like you everything's so quick. It's not the scripted plays that they're wanting to run on defense. I did want to ask you this, and I'm talking with Anthony Armstrong, folks, a good friend of mine who's doing some really good stuff down in Texas, a realtor now, selling homes. So if you need a home, I'm sure, we'll give him a chance to plug that a little bit later on. But just overall, and I know this is a tough question to ask you, most time you guys don't want to throw anybody under the bus, and I respect that. That's what we do. But do you really feel like, after what you watched last night, that a change in somewhere in coaching, whether it's I don't know, the field goal kicker coach, I don't know, I'm just saying, do you feel like something needs to be shuffled just to get the attention of people, because this thing looks like it's running off the rails pretty quickly?
I could say yeah. Like I said, I think that, looking at the DC spot, you're at least if I don't know how involved Ron is in it right now, it seems like he's trying to let his coaches coach,
right?
Especially on offense. But I think that he's going to at least have to jump in and get involved in play calling, scheming,
of course,
and increasing that to show some sort of reaction, right? You can't just sit back and just, hey man, we got to get this right. And at halftime, he said on the telecast, he said, I let the guys talk to each other. I'm like, well,
that was horrible. We heard that up in the press box, and I literally said to the person I was sitting next to, did I really hear him say that? No, you're the coach, you're the leader. The guys clearly can't figure it out because it's showing on the field. They're confused. that's where you have to come in. And if you want to be this leader and be this guy that's, running the show, it almost comes across to me at times that Ron defers and puts the onus back on the players when he knows the hot seat's coming his way. That's just me. That's what I see. And that's what I saw at halftime last night.
Yeah, I don't know about all of that, because I just feel like he's trying to let these other folks have some success, but you definitely need to step in, because that's not the performance that you wanted. And you can give a couple of excuses, but I'm gonna remove them, because that's just not a performance. Because what the biggest thing they say is either you're coaching it or you're letting it happen.
I like that. I like that.
That's what every coach said. That's what a coach says. They say either you're coaching it or you're letting it happen.
Well, he's letting it happen.
And which one is it?
Well, he's letting it happen, because I don't see coaching. And what's also going to happen is, if you keep letting it happen, it's going to be you and them out the door. So this isn't a time to be loyal and friends. You're trying to win games. And just being in that locker room last night, man, guys it was somber. It was quiet. Sam Howell sat in his uniform for at least 45 minutes, just staring blankly straight ahead. And you don't want that with young guys, because the wins that were coming, regardless of how they got them, coming back on teams or beating the Cardinals team that we know isn't going to be one of the better teams, it still showed you that you have to show up, because what did the Cardinals do? They beat the Cowboys. Yeah. So if they were looking ahead, tell Jessica I love her, bless her heart, but there's no such thing as a trap game when your team isn't good. Every game is a game. You got to go out and perform. Yeah. A trap game against the Bears when you just lost 2 in a row, there's no trap game. There was a game that you needed to win.
But see, for me, it's, if you want to be what you think the team is capable of being, you have to beat the team that you're supposed to beat, right? You look on paper and you got to say, okay, we got this one circled. You just got to assume that. And I mean,
but what does that mean now, Anthony? Like, seriously, who are they supposed to beat?
At this point, throw that out the window, because I don't know.
Okay, right. Atlanta's not a gimme game anymore.
Exactly. And the Giants is not a gimme game. Now you got to look yourself in the mirror and say, just like, who the hell are we? Mm-hmm. What are we going to be? Are we a good defense, or are you bottom third in the league? Because right now, statistics say you're in the bottom third of the league.
Statistics say you're one of the worst 2 or 3 defenses, period.
We can hoot and holler about, and I tell you, I believe in what these guys are capable of doing. Mm-hmm. But it's just, you're not doing it. And at some point, you're going to have to get up there and just decide, like, what are we going to do, offensively and defensively? This is a talented team. There's a lot of potential, but potential don't get you nowhere.
No.
You know what I'm saying? You got to have the results.
They've got to figure it out, and they've got, 10 days. This was almost a bye for them in a sense, because they played Thursday. They get a chance to watch some other stuff on Sunday. They're not going to be out there. But it's a gut check time, because you don't want your season. You're 2-3 now, trending the wrong way. You want to fix this, so they want to get this thing righted. So look, my friend, as always, appreciate your time, man. And it was really good seeing you 2 weeks ago. Sorry about the outcome of the game again, but it was good to see you out there getting some well-deserved love from the fan base. I want you to plug your podcast and how people can get in touch with you, even if they're trying to buy a house in Dallas. What's the way they can get to you?
Yeah, man. Y'all hit me up on Twitter, on X at Rated Armstrong. And I'm on the Believe in Commanders show with Brian Murphy. We're on Believe Network. And it's been fun doing the second season for the Commanders right now, or covering the Commanders, I should say. So it's not necessarily affiliated, but and check me out, agentarmstrong.realtor. You're looking for a house down here in Dallas. It's Rated Armstrong on IG as well. You can hit me up over there too.
All right. So I need you to tell Jessica, you guys might have to have 2 extra seats, because, we coming down there for Thanksgiving. So
all right, that's a bet.
I don't want to eat hotel food. So
that's a bet. We'll make room.
All right, my friend. Good seeing you, man. And I definitely appreciate you coming on.
Yes, sir. Good to see you.
All right, folks. Look, we're going to take a break. When we come back, special guest coming up. You've got to hear this story, so hang tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to the After Practice podcast. Appreciate Anthony Armstrong for coming on with us earlier, helping break down last night's debacle with the Washington Commanders and that 40-20 loss to the Chicago Bears. A winless Chicago Bears team on top of that. They hadn't won in 14 games and come into FedEx Field and own the building, own the place. And Washington's got 10 days to figure it out, before they go to Atlanta to play the Falcons in a game now that just doesn't look like a gimme win. So naturally, we'll be talking about all that. And as always, you can subscribe to the podcast on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can watch it on YouTube or sportsjourney.com. And then, of course, you can check out all my daily work on sportsjourney.com or on ABC, Channel 7. So we've got a lot of stuff going on. But as I promised you, I was going to bring in a special young man, somebody that, he's reached out to me, and we're going to see what we can do. I try to do my best to help good people. And this guy's got an inspiring story. And he, too, is a hopeful NFL player, offensive lineman on top of that. And we do know about the struggles of the offensive line for this football team. So let me bring him in now. My good friend, Jarvis Courtney. What's going on, man? How you doing?
How you doing today, sir? Thank you for the opportunity.
No worries at all. You're a guy that's out here grinding, and your goal is to make it to the NFL. And you feel like you're getting close as far as the workouts and preparation. Before we get into your story on your motivation to do this, let me ask you this. When you watch the Commanders or you watch other teams around the league and you look at the offensive line play, do you really feel like there's areas where you can help improve this unit?
Yes, sir. Most definitely. Just my hunger and my passion for the game. Me not taking plays off, even when the games get tough. Like I said, I never strapped my helmet up to lose to anyone or my opponent.
Mhm.
So my goal is to dominate my opponent each and every play.
Now, when you look at the motivation, everyone's like, wanting to hear your story. I do. I want you to tell our audience and our viewers and our listeners, what is your motivation to get to the NFL?
Well, my grandmother, for one, I lost her to cancer back in 2016.
Mhm.
And before she did pass, I was telling her that I was going to make it to the NFL, but I ended up losing her. So I stood on what I said, and to this day, I'm still fighting for it. And then I do have a 4-year-old son. He's my strength. He's my everything. Just seeing him each and every day. I don't want him to go through what I went through growing up. Sleepless nights, going to bed hungry, stuff like that. I never want him to go through that. Just this past year, he got sick with an RSV sickness, and it was tough. It was I was in a dark place around that time.
Okay.
Seeing him fight for his life, and praying that God bring him through. Make him on a hospital bed. Man, if you fight and you just make it for me, I promise you that I'll fight to the death to make it for you, to make your path straighter than mine when I was growing up. So that's my motivation too.
All right. Well, I mean, you've had XFL, and that's a pipeline for some guys, to make it to the league. And is there a time frame in your mind, for when you want to make sure this is accomplished, or are you just going to go through the natural process of just, taking it as one day at a time as it comes?
Yeah, taking it one day at a time, but I'm ready right now. I haven't been more ready than like I am right now. Just, taking it day by day and trusting the process and keeping the faith and just applying the pressure each and every day, and just, waiting for a phone call and just putting my workout videos and stuff like that out there so they can see that I'm working.
Well, I'm trying to help you, man, and we're going to do everything we can. And I love when I see young guys that just, are humble, have a good spirit on them, and always trying to accomplish their goals. It's no different for me. I'm not young no more, but, at the
Yes.
end of the day, what you believe in is what you believe in. And don't you ever let anybody deter that from your mind or make you think otherwise. If you know you're going to make it to the NFL, I plan on calling your name in the NFL. And I've seen the workout videos. I've seen the grind and the hustle. And I appreciate you staying on top of me, man, as far as, just wanting my help, wanting me to bring you on and, push this story out there. So, yeah, your son's got a great dad that he can look up to and see what hard work and perseverance is really about. And it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I've had family members that I've lost to cancer as well. And, to hear that story and how you're inspiring and doing this stuff for your grandmother, she's looking down on you, and her strength is pushing you as well, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, look, I appreciate you coming on. You got the number. We're going to keep doing this for you until I hear your name called in the NFL. All right. So appreciate you coming on, and we're going to get this out for you. All right.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
All right. I'll be in touch with you.
All right.
All right, folks. Look, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we have our final segment here on the After Practice podcast. So hang tight. We'll be right back.